All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay Will. So, Cricket Wireless. I've been using them now for just over a week, I believe. And I just want to give you an update on how my service has been. So, just a real quick disclaimer. I think in the other video that I posted about me switching from T-Mobile to Cricket, a lot of people didn't fully watch that video and they probably just commented first because there are a lot of people that reached out to me and said, hey, they're seeing me post stuff on T-Mobile, but they didn't pay attention to the video probably, or they just forgot. But I didn't completely take every number away from T-Mobile. As I stated in the other video, I took away my main phone number and put it onto Cricket because I need to be able to get business calls. I need to be able to receive calls. I don't need drop calls, and that's what was happening with T-Mobile. So my main phone number is with Cricket, and I've been there for just over a week, or probably going on 2 weeks. I don't remember how long it's been. But what I wanted to give you guys an update, and I've actually already paid the bill for a couple of months. This is how confident I am. I'm gonna stick with Cricket for my main SIM card or my main phone number because um, you know a cell phone isn't good if it doesn't have a provider that goes with it that I can get my phone calls and everything will be okay. Now, again, it's not to bash T-Mobile, but I just had to do what's best for me, and that's what you have to do. But Cricket has been good. The Cricket plans are actually pretty decent. So right now, I'm on this one it's called a basic with Cricket. It's $40, and then I have the $35 for the basically I get a $5 credit for doing auto pay, and that's really good. Now, right now, I think I've got about 20 days left, and I've used about 1.2 gigs of data. So I'm just under half of the data, and I don't normally use for T-Mobile when I had unlimited data. At first, I used to use a lot, but now I don't use hardly any. Well, before I switched to Cricket, I hadn't used really a lot at all. I was using probably no more than 3 gigs, or just a little bit over 3 gigs or so. And that is why I switched and got the basic plan. Now today, shout out to Otech. He's somebody that I know that has the unlimited, and then he said also that he has the 8 gig on his secondary line. But today I spoke to Cricket and I said, hey, I've already paid my bill for a couple of months, so I have basically a credit on there. And they told me, if you switch, this is what it'll be, and this, since you have credits on there. So it's been pretty good. I'm pretty excited to have the option to change my plan whenever I want to, and then I can switch it around. I can just pretty much roam about because the plans themselves, they don't have any tax like on top of what you see there, and so taxes and fees are included. And so I really thought about switching to this unlimited plan, but I've already paid for a couple of months of the 3 gig plan. So I'm going to be patient and try to ride it out. If I just start to use too much data, I'll go ahead the speeds are throttled, but I could just jump on Wi-Fi and save the money. But I don't like to be on Wi-Fi a lot of times because when you're doing battery tests, you have to do another test just on LTE. And, you could consume a lot of data when you're reviewing a smartphone and you're on LTE. Because the LTE version of a battery test is kind of, more true to life, I guess I want to say, because the connection won't be as consistent. It depends on the carrier. But I feel like with Cricket, I could probably do an LTE test and still get some really good battery. So I thought about switching my my main phone number to the unlimited plan on Cricket. And that will cost me $55 a month flat, which I really like because of the taxes and everything. So that is where I'm at with Cricket. The service has been good. The call qualities, no drop calls. One place where I always lose service is inside of the electronic department in Walmart's. For some reason, no matter what carrier I'm with, I've lost service. Well, particular with at&t and T-Mobile. And with Cricket, what it did was it lost LTE for the time that I was back there, but it was on 4G. And so I still had service though, so I was pretty happy about that. Sometimes, or in almost all the situations with T-Mobile, I just lost service all around. And even with Metro, it just lost complete service. There was no service. And I was like, walk a little bit to the front of the store and boom, get a flood of text messages, and then phone starts ringing. So with Cricket, at least it's, and I've only been to Walmart a few times since I had this phone. And the times that I went, when I actually noticed it, it was on 4G. It wasn't on LTE. But then when I step a little bit away, LTE is back. And the important part is I didn't lose service. And another important factor is that I have clear phone calls. And when I say clear phone calls, there's certain spots around town where I know that the calls dropped out when I was with T-Mobile, or I started to sound like a robot, if you will. It just sounded really bad, or it just cut out, and I just couldn't be heard. So with Cricket, though, which runs on AT&T's network, I haven't experienced that at all. I'm happy to report that Cricket's wireless service has been good to me. Again, I'm about a week or just over a weekend, maybe 10 days, I guess. And it's actually really good. So I think I'm about 9 or 8 days in probably. But it's been really good. The most important reason that I switched was phone calls. Now with Cricket, the data is capped at 8 megabytes per second. And I've actually done a speed test in my office all through the house. Their speeds are what they say they are. I've consistently they cap you at 8, and that's what you get. You get 8. I've already shown their speed test on camera before, but now I'm in a different spot in my house. In the office, which is probably one of the worst spots for my LTE coverage for any provider, Cricket is actually pretty consistent with the data speeds, and it's just been really good. So I'm sitting down here, and here are my speeds down here. So what is that, 9? I've been consistently getting 9 or 8. At the most I've gotten, this is actually the highest speeds I've seen for up and down. So I pretty much got 9 down and 12 up. Some people say, oh, that ping is horrible. I don't care about the ping. The speeds are consistent. Now with my T-Mobile phone is upstairs. Man, I wish I could have gotten it to show you. I don't feel like stopping this recording though. But what I will tell you is that the T-Mobile speeds, data speeds, are a lot faster. They're not capped or anything, but at the same time, in my office in T-Mobile, I got maybe 1 to 4 down. That's not good. That's not a good look. It's just not a good look. The coverage on Cricket, I'll admit, it has been really solid. And I don't know. I just feel like, from where I sit, this was the smart move. It was a smart move. I mean, look at this coverage here for Cricket. Look at that coverage. It's actually really, really good. So my data speeds are capped at 8 megabytes per second, or 8 megabits per second. That's fine with me. But when I stream, I can still stream in 1080p, 4K, whatever, and it works. So they throttle you down to 128K kilobytes if you go over your data, but I don't foresee me going over the data, and if I were to go over, I would just turn on Wi-Fi. I also have data saver enabled on my phone here. This is the S8, and I have data saver enabled on it because I know that I could suck up a lot of data. But wanted to give you a brief update. So tell me guys, how has your service been on Cricket? If you have Cricket, some people will post and say, oh, Cricket's garbage. They'll just see the title of the video and start saying, Cricket's horrible. If you don't have Cricket, you obviously can't comment on Cricket. So if you've had Cricket in the past or you still currently have Cricket, what is your experience with Cricket? Because where I am right now, Cricket is actually doing really good for phone calls. The data speeds are consistent and it's pleasing right now. I'm doing pretty good with it. So I'm really happy. Now, Cricket's phone selections, if I wasn't buying, if I wasn't, bringing my own devices, like I'm going to do, their phone selection is definitely not the best. Now, here's something that's actually pretty appealing. They actually have the iPhone SE 32 gig for $199. That's pretty appealing. You know, that's pretty good. Just looking through here, and if you transfer, the LG X Power is a good purchase. You know, I would say I never had that phone, but I've heard great things about it. They've got the Galaxy S8 for $700. I will probably just grab the AT&T version and unlock it because I don't know much about Cricket's unlock policy. I think you have to have service for 6 months or a year. I didn't even check because I don't plan on buying any Cricket phones. At least at this moment, I don't plan on buying any because I would rather have an unlocked phone or AT&T phone. But just looking at some of the phones that they're offering, they're definitely not the best selection of phones. And knowing that going in, I was like, I'm going to definitely live unlocked. So that's going to be my thing. But actually, on all of these phones I'm looking at right here, I think the most appealing one is probably this iPhone SE. It's a 32 gig, and it's $199. Can't beat it. So tell me how your experience is on Cricket right now. Mine is fantastic. That's just my take on it. So I will see you guys in the next video. It's your man Jay Will, and I am out. Deuces.